You have to be riding high if you're a Patriots fan. You've got to be steaming a little bit if you're a Bruins and Celtics fan. But if you're a fan of WWE, you may be a little bit confused, maybe uh, maybe a little bit discombobulated, uh, just because of the WWE Unreal documentary that was on Netflix and some of the pullback behind the scenes stuff that made you question about the sacredness of professional wrestling and sports entertainment as a whole. But for WWE, they're right back on live events. This Saturday is the first Saturday night's main event of the year. And the card is pretty sparse. Like, it's not even that much. I'll give you some chats about the Royal Rumble as well. But this is Erik Dunn from Bridgewater, Massachusetts, and this is Falls Count Anywhere on the Rhode Island Broadcasting Network. Believe me when I tell you, I'm going to give you some Eric's thoughts at the very end, and it's going to be mostly Patriots, if believe it or not. It's a hell of a week to be a Pats fan right now after so many years of disappointments and frustrations. Maybe, just maybe, Lady Luck is on our side for 1 year. We will have to find out. But for WWE, though, they're a mess. I mean, they have really been in the crapper since that Netflix documentary series came out. Because it basically peeled back all of the secrecy of what sports entertainment is in WWE. You're not supposed to really know the plan of creative until the show is on camera. You basically get a sneak preview of events that happened before it went on air. I don't know. Kind of, yeah. It's a little, you know, it's kind of like Dark Side of the Ring. To be honest with you, it's definitely not as good as WWE Rivals. That is a hell of an awesome documentary series on A&E. But if you could find that on WWE's YouTube channel or on A&E's YouTube channel, I'd highly recommend it because I think WWE also has a documentary and series playlist of like different films that represent certain wrestlers and rivalries. So definitely check it out. It's a really cool thing. So, with all that being said, you can find me every Wednesday at 5 o'clock exactly on these platforms live on YouTube, Rumble, and Kick. There we go. At Rhode Island Broadcasting. And on Twitch at RI underscore broadcasting. So Twitter is no longer active anymore. Oh well. Not a big deal. And then podcast it up on these platforms afterwards on, I want to say it is Red Circle, Spotify, TuneIn, and iHeart Podcasts at RI Broadcasting. And then also follow us on our social platforms. I know it's Blue Sky, LinkedIn, MeWe, TikTok, Space Hey, Gab, and Parler. But what's that first one? What's that first one with the yellow logo? Oh, that's Twitter? Okay, well, then next time can you make the X white and the background black on it? Because that's what the Twitter icon is for the app. Sorry. Twitter. Okay. And then if you guys want to be a sponsor, help support us going on Daily Sports Unfolded, your ad will actually be read there. Haven't seen one of these in a while. It will not only be heard and seen, but Spotify, Amazon Red Circle is the audio version that your ad will be sponsored as. Send Ron Rigo an email at ribroadcasting.media@gmail.com. That's all one word, ribroadcasting.media@gmail.com. Ron will get you on your way, give you all the materials you need, and help you join the family. Well, actually, our family. This broadcast of Falls Gone Anywhere is the exclusive property of Erik Dunn Productions, where we go in Rhode Island broadcasting for the use of our audience. Any publication, reuse, or redistribution by anyone is not prohibited and is given the express consent to be shared everywhere and is greatly appreciated. Okay. Saturday night's main event on Peacock. The three matches that is on the card right now. Ronnie Boy, get that card out. We officially, for those that don't know, we set the records now at 0. I ended up getting one last year, which was a shocker because I got slaughtered in 24. So let's see how good this one goes, right? So, so those were the predictions for last year that I got wrong by two wins. So for 2026, we start off with basically kind of like a clear bank balance. Everything is zeroed out, and we start all over again. Fair run. We are starting all over again. Clean slate and a new beginning for a new year. So Saturday night's main event, in my opinion, the highlight of this night is going to feature, to me, who is going to be the number one contender for the WWE Championship and will challenge Drew McIntyre. I don't know if it's going to be for the Rumble in 10 days. I'm not sure about that, but if it is, fantastic. But the Fatal 4-Way, it's the 14-time world champion, Viper, Apex Predator, Legend Killer, Randy Orton, who is a first ballot Hall of Famer, by the way, future Hall of Famer. Whoop That Trick Williams, Damian Priest, and Sami Zayn. So, Ron, out of these four, who are you thinking? Randy, Damian Priest, Trick Williams, or Sami as the number one contender? To me, this is more of a toss-up because I honestly don't really know what direction that this is going to go. No, well, obviously, like it has to be a face. So we can take out Trick Williams. That's obviously out. So between Randy, Damian, and Sami, who are all faces, who would you think? Because, like, for me in this case, Sami's got a rivalry with Drew, but also so does Damian. I mean, don't forget, Damian Priest was the one that cashed in on McIntyre at WrestleMania 2 years ago in Philly. So you're picking Sami? Okay. All right. You know what? If you're picking Sami, I'm going to go a different route. I'm actually going to go Randy. So I got Randy and you got Sami. Perfect. Now, the next one, the American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes against the Samoan Werewolf, Jacob Fatu. Oh, Jake Hudson 12 of Twitch. Thank you very much for joining us here. So you put your first match in and you picked Randy. Yeah, I picked him as well. Ron picked Sami. So the way it works with the show is Ron is the creator of RIB. He works backstage behind the scenes, wherever he is. Um, so it sounds like that you're picking Cody to defeat Jacob. So Ron, are you picking Cody or are you picking Fatu? Who would you think would make the most logical sense to win? Cody or Fatu? You're picking Cody? Okay, well then I guess we're on agreement. Cody. Because I think that makes the most sense. And then for the women's tag team titles, Rhea Ripley and Io Sky will defend against Liv Morgan and Roxanne Perez. So what are you guys thinking? Is Rio going to be retaining or is Judgment Day getting the gold back? I think Ron just picked Rhea and Io, so I'm going to pick them as well. I think. Okay, so Jake's in agreement too. All right, so we're all picking Rhea and Io. Not the only ones we are not in any agreement with is the Fatal Four Way because Jake and I are picking Randy to be the number one contender, but Ron is going Sammy. I can see the logical with that, um, but time will tell on Saturday. Now, with the Rumble in 10 days, here's what has developed. AJ Styles, the phenomenal AJ Styles, has put his career on the line against Gunther. I don't think his career is going to end at the Rumble. If it's going to end, it'll probably be WrestleMania or the end of the year. There's no way that AJ is going to walk off into the sunset like that. And I wonder because AJ's 10th anniversary of being in WWE, his merchandise is actually um, available now. Let's see. His merchandise is the 10th anniversary. Phenomenal since 1999. That was when he debuted in the Indies, obviously. Um, and then let's see, a hat, t-shirts, sweatshirt. Oh, cool. There's a white one. There's a baseball jersey. Um, oh yeah, there's a replica championship that's like 600. That's $650, which is funny as hell. Um, yeah. I don't know who would spend money on a towel belt like that. Like that's nuts. So hang on a minute. So, are you telling me that you think Gunther's going to retire AJ? There's no way AJ is going to retire that early. Like, there's no way that he's going to lose and retire at the Rumble. He said his career is going to end in 26. He didn't say when in 26. I'm going to make the assumption that it's going to be a while still this year. So AJ should win that, I would think, because if they're going to make Gunther be this freaking career legend killer like Randy was in 2003, then that's the biggest load of BS I've ever seen WWE do as a creative team. That's ridiculous. I think the Royal Rumble being in Saudi Arabia is definitely not a bad thing. I think it's an interesting site. I think it's going to be cool for like all the international fans getting involved and things like that, obviously. But that's the Rumble for right now. I'm not going to have a full detail on that until we dive into that um, later on in next week's broadcast. But next week's broadcast is basically going to be the Royal Rumble preview. Ron and I, and Jake, if you're around too, we will be picking the winner of the men and women's Royal Rumble match and who we think is going to get a championship opportunity at WrestleMania. Uh, and we'll also go from there, and we'll also find out who's the number one contender for Drew McIntyre's WWE title. So let's move on to the last portion. Eric's thoughts, Ron. Um, and my thoughts are basically going to be Patriots for just a couple of minutes here before I say goodbye to you. How many of you in Patriots Nation actually believe that they would have been that like they would be this successful this year? I mean, you combine to get 16 wins over your last 3 years. I'm just going to be quite honest with you. Ever since Tom Brady's departure, the last 6 years have been nothing but misery. No, sorry, 5 years. If you really count six with 2020 and 21, 22, 23, 24, but the 2025 Pats, that's a pretty interesting story to write if you think about it. This is a Patriots team that literally nobody picked to even come close to winning the AFC East, let alone get 10 wins. They're 16-3 right now. Still haven't won in Denver in the history of their franchise in the postseason. but they're the only team that is left in this league that's actively playing that is undefeated on the road. They were a perfect, I want to say, yeah, they were a perfect undefeated on the road in the regular season. They have not lost on the road once yet. How much do you guys think are going to be betting on Jarrett Stidham, someone that was supposed to be Tom Brady's replacement, to actually do something against us on Sunday? Because I don't think that's actually going to happen. I'm just being honest with you. I don't see that happening. I definitely see the Pats as a team that, even though on paper they don't look like they're going to be successful, but they are. I mean, guys, the Patriots have a real, legitimate shot of going to Super Bowl 60 in San Francisco. I can't believe I'm actually going to say this out loud. The freaking Patriots could be back. And also, for them to win their final home game of the season, regardless of what will happen in Denver last Sunday, that's the best way to go out if you're a Patriots fan. Like, beyond a doubt. That is the best way to go out. But damn it, I really don't want the season to end on Sunday in Denver. Not against how weak they're going to be on that offense. Jarrett Stidham, who hasn't had a snap in 2.5 years, is going to magically beat us. Here's how we will beat us. Here's how we will lose this game. The Broncos defense and Drake May can't keep the ball in his pants, if that makes sense. 4 fumbles from Drake May, 2 were lost. Tying up the turnovers, we will win this game. Ron thinks, on the other hand, that we're going to win by like 2 scores. I think it's going to be close. Probably not by 2 scores, but I think it might be 1 score at least. Maybe a field goal, I would think. You know what I mean? I don't think this is going to be a high-scoring game because this is basically going to be the battle of 2 defenses here, in my opinion. And the irony is, we play before the Seahawks and Rams. So they're going to be waiting to find out the winner of our game. So honestly, that's some added pressure on that. And when Ron and I were talking about this before air, right? Ron didn't say it was going to be high scoring. I didn't say that either. I don't think it's going to be high scoring to begin with whatsoever. Ron thinks it'll be a 2-score game. I think it'll be a little bit more closer than that. But I'll tell you, the majority of the Patriots' adversity this season were games on the road this year. But for all those saying, about the 0-4 record in Denver, let me just remind you of who they faced. They faced the '86 Broncos, led by John Elway, Hall of Famer. The '05 Broncos, who were 14-2 with a dominant offense and defense. You guys remember John Lynch, their free safety that they got from the Bucs? And then the 2013 and 15 Broncos were defensively stacked, and they also had Peyton Manning. You think the 25 Broncos with Jarrett Stidham is going to beat us? I don't think so. I will literally be shocked if we lose this game. But I'm just going to remind you, this is a new system in New England with a first-year coach that won 3 Super Bowls with us in his 7 years that he was a player with us, in Mike Vrabel. What a story this could be, whether we win the Super Bowl or we don't. Just making it there. Imagine the predictions next year for us. I guarantee the majority of our players are going to remain for the 26th season. But I mean, think about it, guys. This is their 16th AFC Championship game in franchise history. They already hold the NFL record for the most Super Bowl appearances with 11. They win Sunday, they'll be their 12th. No one would have thought that 6 months ago. I sure as hell did. I said if lucky 10-7, maybe 11-6, I'm generous. I did not think they were gonna be 16-3 right now. So to wrap up this week for you, my final takeaway is this: the only way the Pats will lose is if they beat themselves with turnovers. They control the turnovers, they'll win this game. Mark my words on that. Bruins and Celtics, they are still, you know, in shambles a little bit, trying to shake off the shackles they're chained with. But they're overachieving for what they have. And, I'm not going to knock them too much, like, Ron Wood either, because they're making use with like what they got. And, with what they got, they're trying at least, you know what I mean? Like they're at least trying or attempting. So we'll see. But guys, next week, the Royal Rumble preview. We kept the card and predictions. Ron and I will have them all right here for you. And maybe, just maybe, I am talking to you about the Pats going to the Super Bowl. Oh man, can you imagine those conversations for the next 2 weeks if they can get to the Super Bowl with a win on Sunday? Oh man, they're going to be like severe underdogs no matter who they face, if the Seahawks or Rams. I guarantee you. Because I don't know who put the bets out on picking them to win the Super Bowl or reach the Super Bowl, but whoever did that could be winning some big money based on what they put down because the odds were nowhere near that favorable for them. But that's the beauty of the NFL. You just don't know. When Jason Tatum returns, there will be a contender. So Jason Tatum, I think he's going to be returning probably during the first round of the playoffs in April. They're going to hold him till then, I think. Well, guys, on behalf of the man behind the scenes, the creative RIB Rodrigo, Erik Dunn here saying so long and thank you from my home in Bridgewater, Massachusetts. This has been a presentation of False Count Anywhere on the Rhode Island Broadcasting Network, WWE's Royal Rumble. Break it all down. Let's go Pats on Sunday. And also, just real quick, for those of you around the New England area, keeping an eye to that forecast, um, definitely be safe and keep a cautious eye. We could be bracing for the worst snowstorm we've had in the last 4 years, based on what the guidelines are saying. We're not going to know for another couple more days, but just be very vigilant and keep your eye. Just an eye to the sky. Thank you guys very much for watching, as well as for listening.